columns and the white steps. So we get there and there are people setting up, pyrotechnics because, and they had a big like jumbotron screen and it was a lot going on. So, when we got there, Craig's looking around, everyone, hey, Craig speaking. And he goes over to wardrobe and they were like, well, we have some things that you can wear. And Craig was like, he's seen a motorcycle jacket and he was like, oh man, I like this, because Craig had recently got into motorcycles. Mind you, he bought a motorcycle and didn't know how to ride it. Um, I taught him, but that's a different story. So he sees this motorcycle jacket and he's like, oh man, I love this jacket. And he's like, I'm gonna wear this in the video. So he wore that jacket in the video. And once the video wrapped, Craig was like, I'm gonna take this jacket. So he tells the wardrobe person, like, I'm gonna take this jacket. And they were like, okay, you'll be billed for it. End of story. So fast forward, I don't know how long, you get the invoice for the video shoot. And it's broken down to who was there, this what got to be paid for, this what has to be paid for. It's an itemized list of everything and the cost. Well, one of the things that was on the invoice was the jacket. And it said like $1,000. I don't remember the exact price, but I know it was in the thousands, not 2,000, like in the thousand range. And Craig was like, he didn't pay any attention to it. So time goes on. I don't know exactly how long, maybe a month or two. Craig goes down on Jamaica Ave because he has to go get some more Timberlands. And Craig wore Timberlands like people wear house shoes. So it was nothing for him to get a new pair of Timberlands like maybe every 2 weeks. So he went to get these Timberlands. I wasn't with him. And he was down on Jamaica Ave. And he sees the exact motorcycle jacket that he wore in the video hanging up in a window. And he's like, oh, but the jacket was on sale. So he goes in and he inquires, what was the original price of that jacket in the window? They told Craig the jacket was only like $300. And the sales price was two something, the low twos. So Craig comes home and I could tell there was something wrong because he would come home and he was loud. Hey, I'm home, something. And I was in the room and he came in with his bags and shit and he plopped down on the bed and I want to say Craig like started smoking a cigarette or something. And he's just like sitting there. And I was like, what's wrong? He said, where's that invoice from that video shoot? I was like, oh, it's on the dresser. And, we kept a pile of papers on the dresser, bills and just whatever. And I thumbed through it and I found it. And he said, I was like, here it is. He said, find out how much that jacket costs. I said, okay. So I'm looking. I was like, 1,000, whatever. He is like, mother. I said, what's wrong? And that's when he explained to me that he had been down on Jamaica Ave and the jacket had only been $300 at full price and was on sale for two something. But the markup on the invoice was at 1,000. So he was pissed. He was pissed. And to be perfectly honest, I don't even know if he said anything about it. But I do very, very, very clearly remember him being extremely upset. So that was one of the things, well, if they price me for this, what else have I been overpriced for? And he just was not happy with being in the company that he was in. And, you know, because that's dirty work. For real. So yeah, that was dirty work, you know. He was becoming more and more disenchanted with being a bad boy because he felt like, if you can do this, what else can you do? What else are you upcharging me for? You know, and then when you find out that they charge damn near for the air that you breathe, you know, it becomes a weight, and it was a weight, it was a yoke on him. And he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy with being there. He wasn't happy with not having freedoms that he wanted to have musically. And you robbing me. Essentially, you're robbing me. And that's where a lot of his hurt came in. And he was just ready to exit stage left. He's like, I don't want to be here anymore. He was tired. You know, sometimes you could see the writing on the wall, but then when you see someone charge you $1,000 for something that only costs $300, it's just like, are you fucking kidding me? You know, and that's basically where he was.
Choose to feel it. The Mazda CX-5, engineered to give you effortless control.
I wake up.
How about this? We're running the three-man weave with Kobe Bryant, the dean of the NBA photographers and Basketball Hall of Famer,
right,
Andrew Bernstein. The book is The Mamba Mentality, How I Play. And I'm sorry, I'm going to start with the Hall of Famer.
Of course, please do.
Tell me about your relationship with Kobe Bryant.
Oh, man. Well, we go back to his rookie year. I think you were, what, 18, right?
Yep.
1996. I met him on my set first time at Media Day, and I knew this guy had something because he had recognized my name from posters he had in his room growing up,
Oh, yeah.
which blew me away because you needed like a microscope to see a photo credit on a poster.
I was excited to have him take my picture.
Right.
Not like I'd
Because
seen
you had
his name.
studied his
Oh, my
pictures.
God.
And what advantage would you get studying a photo?
Well, you know, if you take a snapshot of a player making a move, you can really dissect things. The position of the foot, you know, the positions of the defensive player. You know, you can break things down. If you're seeing a game move so quickly, a lot of times you can't, right? So with the still image, you can really pick things apart.
What's the reaction been to the book?
Over the moon. I mean, it's been off the chart. I mean, seriously, off the chart.
I heard you're big in China.
I'll put it to you this way. I tried to get some books today from the publisher. They're sold out.
That's good.
Yeah.
Tell me about you had a signing the other day and it was craziness?
Well, we had a signing over at Barnes & Noble, and we took pictures of about 500 fans, but there was an additional like 300 that came in, and we just hung out and took pictures with all of them, man. It was great to, you know, see your fans and connect with them.
What inspired you to do this? You picked the photos, too, that he took, and then you wrote the text. What inspired you?
Well, yeah, thinking back to when I was a kid and how I used to learn, whether it was video or books. You know, that's how I used to study. And so I was thinking, well, if I'm a kid now, I would love to have a book like what? And so that's why this book was created the way it has been, which is process and, you know, the craft and, you know, breaking things down, the training, recovery, injury prevention, all the way down to the small tactics of the game itself. You know, it's just for the next generation of a basketball player that wants to learn from some of the knowledge that I gained over 20 years.
Do you have a favorite picture of you that he took? How many pictures of him have you taken? A million?
Pretty close. Pretty
Seriously?
close, I would say yes.
That's a tough one for me to pick. I mean, he's taken a lot of classic images. I'm more interested about your favorite picture.
Yeah, what's your favorite pages in the book?
Man, I remember 40-41, I think it is.
Yes.
Young Kobe and a wily old Michael Jordan talking on the court during an all-star game. There's like a timeout or free throw or something, and you just pick at his braid.
Yeah.
And I think everyone on the planet wanted to know what that conversation was about. So for the first time, he's letting us know what it was about.
Yeah.
Mamba mentality, how I play the game, not how I played the game.
Right. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
Now, it has nothing to do with me playing now, but it's an understanding that the discipline and the same attention and focus that I had to the game, I just carry over into what I'm doing now, right? It's the same focus, same principles.
Right.
So that's why it's important in how I play, because those disciplines and those skill sets transition into the next phase.
Now, what you're doing now, I thought you might bring your Oscar.
How about that?
Huh? How about that?
How about that?
Where is
How about
that?
It's at home.
And do you look at it every
home.
day and go shake yourself and go,
I do.
damn.
I do. I look at it in the morning. I have it right there when I get dressed and get changed. I'm looking at it and I'm going, what in the world just happened? It's insane.
Is it next to the 5 rings and the 5 trophies?
You have like a
and
man
the
room?
medals
Like, do you
and
have a
everything else?
trophy room and all that?
I kind of.
right.
But I have the basketball section separate from, the studio, section.
You had Phil Jackson write the introduction. You had Pau Gasol write the foreword.
Yeah.
You chose them. Why?
Well, Phil's been a big mentor in my life, not just as a basketball coach, but even just as a person. A lot of the philosophies that he taught about the game of basketball are applicable to life. And so he's been a huge influence in my life. And Pau, because Pau's like my brother. He always has been, still is to this day. And the book wouldn't be complete if he wasn't a part of it.
You say the Lakers are family. How close to the family are you right now?
Oh, extremely. I always will be. I mean, I always said, if you cut this arm open, man, I bleed purple and gold. That's never going to change.
Okay, how close are you to the newest member of the Laker family?
Well, he's part of the Laker family.
Right.
So when he first came on board, I said, listen, is there anything you need? You are now family now. You're part of this tradition. So if there's anything you need, just let me know.
Has he needed anything?
No, I think he's fine.
All right. You write in the book about LeBron James, the main thing the two of you discussed is what constitutes a killer mentality. What was your message to him?
Well, the message is always to go out there and dominate. Right? There's no let up. Once the game starts and once the practice begins, you're in that mode. Everything's a game 7. When you approach every practice and every game with that kind of mentality, it bleeds into the rest of the guys. And then the rest of the unit has that same approach and that same intensity, but it starts at the top.
I got chicken skin on that. All right, you also said when it came to contact, you enjoyed hitting and getting hit more than LeBron, and that impacted your head-to-head matchups. How so?
Well, I love posting up. I love the physicality of it, where, he liked playing on the perimeter more, which is interesting because he's 6'10 and
Right.
280, but he liked being on the perimeter. I like being down low, and I like banging. So when I get down to the post and I would post him up, I'd love to put my shoulder into his chest. I love to feel it, spin off of him and kind of work that way. As he kind of grew older, you start seeing him going to post up more and bang a little bit more. But when he first came into the league, man, he's just like dancing around on the perimeter.
Jerry passed the torch to Magic. Magic passed it to you. Fair to say you've passed it to LeBron?
Well, it's funny is none of them passed the torch to any of them, right? Like
It's a figurative torch.
Yeah, it's a figurative torch. Like, Jerry was here, and then Magic came, and
Right.
now you have the responsibility and the pressure of the franchise, which is an immense one, right? And you got to win. And then I came on board with Shaq, and we were able to carry on that tradition. And then with Powell, and now it's Bron and Kuz and Lonzo and these guys, and it's their turn to do the same thing, and Ingram. And it's a lot of pressure, but this is what we do. We don't hang division banners.
What do the pictures in the book of you and Shaq say about your relationship?
Well, Shaq and I now have a great time
Right.
together. And his son, by the way, is going to be a phenomenal player. I'm looking forward to getting in the gym and working with him a little bit. But Shaq and I's relationship has always been a good one, man. Always been a good one. We've had our moments,
Right?
right? But through that friction, we managed to win 3 championships in a row.
You speak to that friction a little bit, but say it was never about us. The media made it about us. What did you mean?
Virtual primary care at Advocate Healthcare. House calls have evolved.